Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for a demonstration of the California Career Pathway Tool. I am Judy Mortrude from the Center for Law and Social Policy, or CLASP. CLASP is a national nonprofit based in Washington, D.C. that works on policy and practice solutions to benefit low-income people. We work on a variety of issues at CLASP: safety net, child care, income and work support, immigration, youth policy issues. My team at CLASP is in the Center for Post-Secondary and Economic Success. This team has been involved in a number of national career pathway initiatives, including facilitating the Alliance for Quality Career Pathways. The Alliance is made up of 10 leading career pathway states, came together in 2013 to design and test a career pathway framework that includes definitions of a career pathway program, a pathway, a system, plus a set of criteria for gauging quality in a career pathway system, and a menu of career pathway participant metrics for partners to use in continuous improvement efforts. California has played a leading role in advancing career pathways nationally through many of your initiatives like the Career Ladders Project, the Link Learning Alliance, and many other investments of resources and expertise that have influenced not just the Alliance, but also federal legislation. And a career pathway program definition is now in federal statute in both the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, and in the Higher Education Act, HEA, with opportunities to build career pathway systems as well. And 12 federal agencies are lifting up the work of Alliance states and others in their guidance to the field and in their online toolkit that features many of the CLASP or Alliance resources. The Alliance Design here in Element 3, CLASP Braided Funding Toolkit for Career Pathways in Element 4, and the Alliance Metrics in Element 6. Each section of this toolkit is available to be downloaded as a separate document. The Irvine Foundation was an original funder of the Alliance, and after the Alliance framework was released and the federal legislation, including Career Pathway, and the revised federal guidance is underway, the foundation staff and CLASP started talking about the vast amount of career pathway work in California coming out of your state government, the federal government, philanthropy, human service, workforce development, and talking about the value of having some sort of inventory of that work. So this led to some reading and interviewing and compiling and ultimately a document that was about 60 pages long. And we quickly realized that we needed a way to access and help people access and digest all of this information. So phase 2 of the work has been about creating a presentation interface of California's career pathway landscape. And that is this website tool. So today, over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the underlying framework that informed how the information is presented on the website, give you a sense of the scope of initiatives in the tool directory, and walk you through the comparison function of the tool. We'll demonstrate how we imagine a career pathway practitioner accessing information from the tool and using that information in a next step. So before we go to the website, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background in preparation for looking at the career pathway initiatives, more than 50 of them in California. We started by analyzing these 9 national or California-specific career pathway frameworks. This analysis is what ultimately led us to construct the 6-element structure that we then use to examine and evaluate the 50-plus initiatives in the tool. So before we go look at those initiatives in the tool, I want to give you a sense of how these 9 frameworks led CLASP to conceptualize the 6 core elements. So very quickly, I'm just going to flash up some brief highlights from the major frameworks, and then later when we're on the website, I will show you where you can get a summary document of this entire framework review. To begin, evidence of a sector focus is found across all the major career pathway frameworks, whether it's California's WIOA plan calling for pathways to align to growing and emerging industries, Perkins' rigorous programs of study requirement and the technical skill attainment requirement in that law, or the strong workforce framework, which calls for alignment between colleges and industry. So beyond just identifying the specific framework components that are tied to each element, we also developed a shorthand definition for this element and some guiding questions that career pathway partners can sit together and discuss about their work together. So paying attention to sector means asking what workforce need in the region or state economy will be addressed by this career pathway. And questions like how will the skills gained by an individual be portable and relevant over time so that the program truly is a pathway for the participant. The second element is career pathway designs, and these considerations are evident across the 9 frameworks as well, with many stressing the on and off ramp, the need for transparency, the need for well-connected courses and credential, and attention to work-based learning. So design questions include who is the career pathway intended to serve, how will it do so, what does the program feel like from the participant perspective, how are the components connected as participants move across settings between systems. The third element is partnership. Partnership is called out through stressing development of a shared vision, cross-agency strategic planning and leadership support, and calls for engaging employers and other community stakeholders. Partnership questions get to the very definition of a partner. If a partner is someone who brings resources and takes on responsibilities for outcomes, how is that articulated in the partnership? And questions like how do partners find a common way to talk about the career pathway, even about the person who's in the career pathway. Is it a student, a client, a recipient, an employee, a participant in the career pathway? The next element is delivery, and there is certainly a shared focus on instructional delivery across the major frameworks, bringing academic, technical, and work-based learning together. So delivery questions include those talk about those instructional strategies that are in the pathway. Is there contextualization, concurrent remediation, competency-based education, and more? So how does the pathway deliver these strategies intentionally and again across settings? Next, all the major frameworks pay attention to comprehensive participant supports. Some are more focused on academic supports. Others of the frameworks have more comprehensive, broader focus for that, the element of supports. And in our definitions and questions, we use that idea of comprehensive, holistic supports and invite partners to identify the array of supports available to participants and to discuss how equity considerations ensure that people get what they need to be successful. And finally, the sixth element is that all of the frameworks address at some level is this idea of measurement, trying to find common measures for participant outcomes across the system, and also developing capacity for data collection and data use. So we call out in our definition these ideas of sharing data, selecting metrics, committing to data use. The key questions are as basic as how is success defined? How do we get the data together to measure success? And then also, how do we use data not only for final evaluation, but also for formative, continuous improvement conversations with our partners? Okay, so with that background about the 6-element structure, I'm going to move us now to the website. So here we are at cacareerpathways.clasp.org. And the California Career Pathways website has information on current California statewide initiatives presented in the context of career pathway systems. As you scroll down, the arrow keeps you going. And the website asks you really to start by getting the context of the 6-element structure. So we've got this bold start here. And if you click on elements, really what you're going to see as I scroll down here is what we just talked through in the initial slides that we looked at today. As I scroll down, you see the brief description, you see the guiding questions, all that content stays here in the element structure. I'm going to continue to the directory, and the directory is really the bulk of the content. You'll see that there are currently 54 initiatives listed here. And let me just pause to stress, we know that content will, in these initiatives and in other initiatives that are not yet featured here, will need to be added, changed, and deleted in order for us to keep the current tool current. And we do have that capability and are hoping for lots of conversation and feedback with practitioners in California so you can guide us. A quick glance also shows you, as you look down the screen here, that the Career Pathway System graphics vary at each initiative. This variation is explained here. CLASP has characterized the degree of intensity in each of the 6 career pathway elements represented in the initiative design. Again, this is not an evaluation of implementation in any one area or even implementation of the initiative statewide. This is an analysis of the way an initiative was set up in statute, in an RFP. If I click this link, I'll get more information about the low, moderate, and high intensity analysis that was done. But let's just continue playing here in the directory. There are several ways to filter this initiative list. You can do it by category. You can see right now I'm currently set at all categories, but it's easy to change that. I could choose education, post-secondary, and quickly I will see that then my list filters down to 17 of the 54. I could change to workforce development, and then you see I'm at 11 of 54, or I could look at joint initiatives, education joint initiatives, something that California is doing more and more of, and that I have 5 of 54. So that's a fast way to filter by these categories, these broad categories. I can also filter by element. So this analysis of the 6-element design in the initiative as it's created. Say I'm interested in learning which initiatives have a moderate or high intensity in supports, in that kind of idea of academic and personal supports, or and sector, let's say 2 of those. You can see then I filtered my list down to 8 of the 54, so I could dig in and read these initiative profiles that are high, moderate, or high intensity in these elements. And then finally, the third way to search the initiatives, after I reset back to 54, is that I can simply type in what I'm looking for. So let's say that you're hearing a lot about SSSP, and I want to know more about how SSSP could fit in a career pathway framework. So I'm going to type SSSP, hit enter or go, and you can see then I've filtered down to 2 initiatives. One of them is the Student Success and Support Program, SSSP. The other one is the Student Equity Plan. So this phrase is somewhere in the Student Equity Plan. As you'll see if you go into that initiative, they are quite related. My options at this point, I can click on the name of the initiative. I can click at this symbol with the magnifying glass that is going to let me get deeper into the profile. I can also hit the plus sign. The plus sign is going to start adding initiatives into your comparison bucket, and I'll show you that in a minute. But let's first look into the Student Equity Plan. So again, I can click here. I can click on the name. I'll just click the name. Once we get to an initiative, I start with a brief overview of the initiative, when it came about, its purpose, the amount of funding that was allocated, and then I can look at an analysis of this initiative within the 6-element structure. So for some elements, for example, in this one sector, there is no activity. The design of the Student Equity Plan did not consider sector focus. That's just the way it was designed. Inside design, I can see that there are definitely some target population considerations that are part of the initiative design that need to be looked at. Partnership, you can see here that in 2014, there was an update to the legislation for the student equity planning that required coordination with the following programs. So that's quite a comprehensive. We evaluated that as a moderate call for partnership. Again, delivery is not a focus and no specific instructional strategies called out here. Supports, definitely there are callouts to, in this initiative design student equity plan, that callouts to the kinds of supports that should be available, and also under measurement. There is a call for each campus to do a disproportionate impact study and to use that the outcomes of that study, the research findings, to design goals and activities for those impacted student groups. Beyond looking at the way this initiative fits into the career pathway system framework, we also have some text under each initiative about opportunity. What other initiatives could the student equity planning be leveraged with to build a more comprehensive career pathway system? In other words, how could you fill out this 6-element design to support a larger career pathway system that could scale and sustain? Down at the bottom of the page, I can see some options here. I can download just the information on this initiative and have a handy PDF version. I can add this to my comparison. I can go back to the directory. You can also see down here at the bottom of every initiative, we have this invitation to you users. Does this information need updating or adjustment? Send us your suggestions. So we have a dedicated email address, cacareerpathways@callouts.org, where we're hoping to get input from users if you see things that need updating, adjustment. Okay, I'm going to go back to the directory, and let's just really quickly run through what we imagine a user, a potential user of this tool would be. Let's say that I am an adult ed block grant, an AEBG administrator, and I've just been invited to a strong workforce conversation. So I am going to create, do some background reading, build up my knowledge about these initiatives, the initiative partners that I'll be sitting at this table with. So I'm going to add the adult ed block grant to my comparison list. You can see I get a dialog box here. I can view the profile as we just did with the student equity plan. I can undo this. I can view a comparison. But right now I'm just going to continue to add things to my comparison. You can see I only have one here, not much of a comparison, so I need some more. Okay, so I know that the strong workforce partners will be there at the table. I'm going to filter to strong workforce. You can see actually that gives me 11 of the 54 initiatives because there are so many of the initiatives in California that are now referencing strong workforce. But here is the one I'm looking for, the strong workforce program. So I'm going to add that in. I've now got 2 initiatives in my comparison. Let's say that I also know as an adult ed block grant administrator that we owe a Title II. That current competition is going on with the federal WIOA Title II dollars. So I'm going to also think about how does we owe a Title II fit in. And you know, while I'm at it, I also know that there's a strong call for partnership with Title I, Title I youth program, especially out-of-school youth. So I am going to add that component as well. Okay, so I've now got 4 comparisons in my comparison bucket. So if I click there, I can be taken to see those 4 comparisons. I've got a great deal of content here, some of it visual, some of it looking across at how these initiatives build into a career pathway system framework design. I can see an overview. In fact, if I clicked right now and looked at this current selection, it's going to give me those visuals, and then it's going to give me just the overview, that overview content for each of the 4. I could print that out. We also have a little notes section there. But let's go back and let's look at the entire, I'm going to click complete comparison. So here I've got a quite a long document that's been created, again with the initiative overview there first, but then the opportunity within each initiative, how our take at how this initiative could be leveraged with other initiatives. Then by each element in the 6-element framework structure, I can see the 4 initiatives that I've chosen in my comparison, how they build first into sector, then into design, then into partnership, then in delivery, supports, and finally measurements. I apologize if I'm making you dizzy there. So you can see that that's quite a long uh, list of information. I can print this current page. I can actually download it as a PDF, and that is going to produce a much better and cleaner visual. There comes my PDF, so I can show you that. It's a 10-page PDF, and again, it's going to contain all that content, and at the very end, a page for notes. So this is meant to produce for you a way of bringing that content back to a meeting or for your own use outside of the website. Okay, I'm going to go back here. That's the bulk of the functionality of the tool. I'll show you one more section, which we call connections, up here at the top. And connections is really about some strategic guidance on how to move into a conversation with other initiatives, looking for complementary mission and points of intersection. So we talk about defining interest, making contact, questions, 4 questions to consider with partners as you plan to move ahead. And again, this is all about thinking about sustainability, scale, and sustainability for leveraging these many investments together in a region to build a stronger career pathway system and using that system lens. So that's it in a nutshell, but let me just circle back and connect again this content to what we were discussing before we came to the website. In the footer, there is everywhere there's a Learn More link, and this will take me to the kind of the overview, why this tool conversation. Here's where you can see more about the project and about the analysis by intensity in each of the 6 elements. You can learn a little bit more about CLASP and the James Irvine Foundation. And then this 6-element structure content here contains the links to all of those 9 frameworks, the Perkins, the Linked Learning, the WIOA, the HEA, California Workforce Board, Alliance, Pathways to Prosperity Network, all of those different frameworks. And then it says download the analysis. This is where I can come to what is a 20-page PDF that contains that analysis of each of the 9 frameworks and much more detail than I had up on the earlier slides, and how these operational frameworks really led us to developing the 6-element framework. Okay, I'm going to take us back to the website, or off the website to the PowerPoint, and wrap up here. So that's it. I would love to get some questions, comments, feedback. You can send things directly to the CA Career Pathways at CLASP.org or to me, Judy Mortrude. We appreciate your interest and look forward to more conversation ahead. Thanks.